Imagine you're the defense minister of a rising middle power. Your budget is tight, your neighbors are rearming, and you have a choice on your desk. On one side, the American F-16 Block 70. It is a masterpiece of engineering, combat-proven and globally respected. The catch? It costs over $60 million per unit. In Washington's human rights oversight comes with more strings than a symphony orchestra. On the other side, the Chinese J-10C or the JF-17. It looks the part, the avionics are good enough, and the price tag is a staggering 40% lower. No lectures from Congress, no intrusive inspections, just a clean, no-strings transaction. It looks like the deal of the century, but in the world of high-stakes geopolitics, the deal of the century is usually a trap designed for those who only read the first page of the contract. You see, for the United States and its allies, the real concern isn't that China is selling cheaper hardware. The concern is that Beijing has mastered the art of the subscription military. They aren't just selling you a jet, they are selling you a decade of dependency. From a U.S. defense planning perspective, this isn't about market share, it's about readiness friction. Because as nations from Myanmar to Nigeria are finding out, a Chinese weapon is remarkably affordable the day you buy it. It only becomes expensive the day you actually need to use it. Welcome to the world of the Lifecycle Trap, where the sticker price is a lie and the real cost is measured in sovereignty. For decades, the global arms market was a binary world. You either bought high-end Western tech with political strings attached, or you bought rugged Soviet-era steel that worked until the Rust took over. But as we entered the mid-2020s, a new titan emerged. According to the latest data from SIPRI 2025, while the US still dominates the top tier of the market, China has carved out a massive value-tier empire. They didn't do it by being better, they did it by being available. From 2010 to 2020, over 77% of China's exports flowed into Asia, with another 19% saturating Africa. They became the net exporter to the developing world, providing everything from VT-4 tanks to wing-long drones. But here is the central strategic question. If these systems are as capable as Beijing's brochures claim, why are the secondary markets suddenly cooling? Why did SIPRI's 2024 report show a 10% dip in Chinese arms revenue, even as global tensions surged? For Washington, the answer is a textbook case of buyer's remorse. The hardware is arriving, but the readiness is evaporating. We are seeing a pattern where Chinese weapons are treated as consumables, purchased for the parade but grounded when the actual shooting starts. For U.S. defense planners, this is a critical observation. The China-aligned air forces of tomorrow might look impressive on a spreadsheet, but their real-world availability rate is a ticking time bomb. The first pillar of the trap is technical isolation. When you buy an F-16, you're joining a global club. There are repair hubs in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. But Chinese hardware like the JF-17 or the CASC drones operate in a black box. Reports from the Irrawaddy 2023 and RAND indicate that nations like Myanmar and Nigeria have struggled with structural airframe cracks and proprietary avionics that local technicians simply cannot touch. For U.S. planners, this is a strategic kill switch. If a nation acts against Beijing's interests, their spare parts don't just get expensive, they stop shipping. You aren't just buying a jet, you are leasing your national defense from the CCP. Then there is the engine problem. High-end jet engines are the holy grail of metallurgy. While China has made leaps with the WS-10, Western intelligence and Jane's Defense Weekly consistently point to a massive gap in mean time between overhaul. A Western engine might hum for 2,000 hours before needing a deep strip-down. A Chinese equivalent often hits its limit at 500 to 800 hours. From a U.S. perspective, this changes the math of a conflict. In a high-intensity standoff, a Chinese-equipped air force will literally burn through its fleet 3 times faster than an allied force. It's not a force multiplier, it's a force divider. Third, consider the strategic island effect. Look at the Thai S-26T submarine saga, 2024 to 2025. When Germany refused to supply the engines for a Chinese-built hull, Thailand was forced to accept unproven Chinese substitutes. For the US Navy, this is a fascinating second-order effect. By forcing partners to use unique, non-standard engines and data links, Beijing is effectively de-linking them from the US-led security architecture. You can't share parts with a neighbor if your submarine is the only one in the region running on a proprietary Chinese drivetrain. The cheap price tag is actually a tax on your ability to work with allies. Finally, there is the after-sales desert. In 2019, a U.S. Inspector General report revealed a shocking statistic. Iraq's fleet of Chinese CH-4 drones had dwindled to just one operational aircraft out of 10. The reason? Maintenance. China is excellent at the initial sale, the ribbon cutting and the handshake, but they lack the global MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul infrastructure that the U.S. has spent 80 years building. For a defense planner in Washington, this confirms a vital assumption. China's partners are operationally brittle. They can start a fight, but they lack the industrial long game to finish one. If you look at the strategy behind these sales, a provocative conclusion emerges. China isn't trying to build powerful allies, it's building dependent clients. In Western military doctrine, a sale is the beginning of a 40-year marriage. When the U.S. sells an M1 Abrams or a P-8 Poseidon, the goal is integrated deterrence, the idea that an ally can stand on its own feet and fight alongside American forces. But Beijing's model looks more like planned obsolescence. By selling hardware that is difficult to maintain locally and impossible to integrate into global standards, China creates a security leash. If you are a nation like Pakistan or Thailand, and your entire frontline submarine or fighter fleet relies on a single proprietary engine from a Chinese state-owned firm, you haven't just bought a weapon, you've outsourced your foreign policy. Here is the non-obvious insight that keeps U.S. Indo-Pacific Command up at night. The danger of Chinese weapons isn't that they are bad, it's that they are good enough for the gray zone, but useless for the red zone. For a country like Thailand or Saudi Arabia, a Chinese laser system or a Yuan-class submarine looks great in a parade. It signals power. But as we've seen in recent reports from late 2025, when these systems face the harsh reality of the Arabian Desert or the high salt environment of the Pacific, the maintenance debt comes due. From an allied perspective, this creates a strategic vacuum. If the US assumes a partner is capable because they have 50 Chinese jets on paper, but only 10 can actually take off during a crisis, the entire regional security architecture collapses. The real climax of this story isn't a battlefield defeat, it's the Hangar Queen effect. We are moving toward a world where large parts of the global south are defended by Potemkin militaries, fleets of impressive-looking Chinese steel that are effectively grounded because the value tier deal didn't include the industrial backbone to keep them alive. For Washington, this is both a risk and an opportunity. It means China's allies aren't actually force multipliers, they are logistical liabilities. So why do Chinese weapons look cheaper? Because the price tag only covers the hardware, not the readiness. In the high-stakes game of global defense, value isn't what you pay at the dealership, it's whether the engine turns over when the sirens go off. China is winning the marketing war, but they are losing the industrial one. The question for you is this: if you were a defense planner for a small nation, would you take the no-strings deal today, knowing it might leave you defenseless tomorrow? Or is the Western interventionist model simply too expensive to sustain? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. This has been Minh Quan Story International. News told differently.